Welcome back, everyone, to the Hear Me Out podcast, episode 5, featuring Joe Schmidt, and I'm super excited for this conversation. Joe, former teammate, good friend of mine, guy went from being an unranked high school prospect to starting middle linebacker and captain at Notre Dame, and has since gone on to work at a world-renowned venture capitalist firm, Excel, out of the Bay Area, and is now working for one of the companies they invested in called Ethos Life, a company looking at a more digitalized and modernized approach to life insurance. And I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. I think we touched on a lot of important topics, from higher education to life insurance to Joe's mindset of how he overcame the label of unranked to starting and being a captain at Notre Dame, which I think labels are so prevalent today, and how we overcome those is so important. And Joe attacks that certainly. And we want to be a space where relevant and meaningful conversations are taking place and being had. And so if you have ideas for that, if you have a conversation you'd like to have take place or you'd like to hear about, please comment below, reach out to us, let us know, and we'll try our best to bring on somebody and have those meaningful and relevant conversations. I hope you guys are blessed by this. God bless you again. This is the Hear Me Out podcast.
What's going on, buddy? Thanks for coming on.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me. Thrilled to be here.
Coming to us live from the Bay Area.
Yeah, actually Newport Beach today. So less of the Bay Area, a little Newport today. My sister just had a kid, Drew. Did you know this?
Your sister had a kid?
Yeah. Very exciting.
When is Uncle Drew going to get the chance to say hello?
I know. Yeah. You got to meet him. He's awesome, man.
How old is he?
4 days old. So they just picked a name, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So anyway, that's why I'm down here, closer to you.
Did everything go smooth?
Yeah, everything was good. A little bit of excitement during the pregnancy. It's weird right now, man, with, COVID, and everybody can't go to the hospital, and, everyone wants to make sure around, safety and everything. So, fortunately, God is good, and, healthy baby, and 4 or 5 days old. So we're setting records every day for.
Is he going to be just a massive beast like Joe Schmidt? 6'4", 250.
This is not massive beast. This is Peloton. This is Soul Cycle. He's. I don't know. We'll see. My sister's a freak athlete, so she's better than me at everything. So we'll see if he gets some of her genes, or if he gets screwed and gets some of his dad's genes, which would be a problem.
Oh no. Dude, guess what I had for lunch today? Take a wild guess.
Chipotle.
Oh, man. I knew you'd get it right.
Just every time.
This episode's brought to you by Chipotle.
I can't wait till they come to you and they're going to sue you. They're like, we didn't give you permission to broadcast.
It is not actually brought to you by Chipotle, but Chipotle is awesome.
Awesome,
dude. How's life, dude? How's life in the Bay Area? What's changed the past couple months? You're with Ethos Life now, and you guys just working from home. What's the vibe up in the Bay Area?
Things are good. I mean, the Bay's been pretty much locked down for 5-6 months, to be honest with you. So it's been a little strange. We haven't really seen many people whatsoever. So I see my girlfriend. That's basically it. And it's been a little weird. There's been a bunch of transitions with the work environment, and everybody went remote immediately. Fortunately, we're a tech company, and everybody's pretty natively digital. So it was pretty easy to switch, but still trying to now figure out how to continue to maintain your culture in a remote environment, and not have people feel like they're too distant and kind of lose momentum. So I think that's been a unique management challenge to grow through that and manage it. So
bro,
I've tested multiple times a week like you are. What are you guys getting tested every day?
Dude, we reported to camp.
Are you guys going fully into the cranium?
Yeah. So we go one of these, we flare our nostrils, and it's 10 circles in either direction. Some nurses, they go this way and then they'll switch directions. Some are just, they keep it the same direction. 10 in each nose, and you're out of there. It's brief, but dude, it's we got to have 3 negative tests before we're even allowed in the facility. And then, from there, it's literally, I think it's daily testing. So
Ugh.
it's gonna be crazy. I'm just excited to get it going and see what we can make of it, and hopefully everybody stays healthy. But it's certainly crazy. It's a crazy time. It's hard.
Man. Totally.
Dude, I anticipate probably some Notre Dame folks watching this. I just saw a graphic by ESPN. You'll appreciate this. That they just released the NFL Top 100. I wasn't on there. Kind of mad about it. Hopefully that can change. But get this, bro. The top 5 on there. The top 5 were less than 3-star recruits coming out of high school. All of them. I think it was who were the top 5? I think it was.
I thought that list was hot garbage. By the way, we can get into that in a second. But
you think it's hot garbage?
It was absolute BS, dude. Tell me who the top 5 were, and then I can just.
Hey, the top 5 were pretty legit. They're pretty legit. You got, I think Lamar was number 1, and then it was Russell Wilson, and then it was Aaron Donald, and then Pat Mahomes at 4, and then Michael Thomas, receiver for the Saints. Yeah. But a pretty solid group of top 5. I don't know that you might could dispute, one guy being above another. But the most interesting point to me was the fact they were all 3-star recruits coming out of high school. That's just interesting to me. You didn't have too many stars, did you?
I don't know if I had a single star. I think it was more of a negative star, 0 star. Who is that guy? He could be a good club lacrosse player or something. So
you had the NR, the not ranked.
I think I had a not ranked. Honestly, I think at the end, 747 or whatever, gave me a couple of stars just as all right, I feel bad for this kid. I don't
he's going to Notre Dame. Let's give him 1 or 2.
Yeah. He somehow he swindled Notre Dame into letting him in. So let's give him 1 or 2 stars.
Bro, so I think I'm less interested. I think we'd benefit more from hearing less maybe why you chose Notre Dame. But
sure.
what was your mindset? Because you went in there and you played some special teams, you got some more playing time, and eventually you were a captain and a starter, on a national prominent football team, and you came out of high school unranked and you made the decision to go there. Less interested why you went there, but what was kind of your mindset? I guess take us into the mind of Joe and kind of how you went about your time there.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly haven't thought about it in a while, but I think the thing for me that kind of always kept me going was I always had this massive dream that I wanted to be, a contributor and a leader at Notre Dame on the football team. And that was something that, but from when I was 5 years old, my dad sat me down at the table and, asked me my goals and 3 things we wrote together. It's go to the park with dad, play, go to Baskin Robbins and play football at Notre Dame. And so it's so deep within me that this is all I wanted. It gave me, a lot of purpose and energy daily. And then I just kind of thought about it from every day I got up and I was okay, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get, a little bit better today with this, grand vision of becoming a contributor and becoming a leader on the team. I'm going to try to be excellent in all these different ways and just, really, do everything I can so that I have no regrets at the end of it. And so sometimes that, kind of metastasizes in, doing, extra workouts before you actually came to Notre Dame, Troy and I used to go and sometimes with Troy, sometimes without, but we would go and find gyms to do second workouts at because Longo wouldn't let us do another workout. Yeah, it wouldn't let us in. So we were going to Holy Cross and Keenan Hall in the basement, doing extra workouts. And then, just constantly being in the playbook and, doing all the little things to try to build myself into a better player. And, I think at times that's a really lonely journey. I know you've been on it too. And when you're doing all those things, you don't know if it's going to pay off and you're not playing and you're not getting a look here. You're not getting a good look there. But, I'm thrilled that I did all that. I got lucky that I got a few breaks and got onto the field and ended up contributing. But, looking back, it was a ton of hard work that, that looks like, it was a success story. But a lot of the time it was, long, lonely nights where you're thinking to yourself, what the hell am I doing trying to get Chipotle at 9:58 p.m. before it closes,
Trying to keep weight.
Oh man, God, I don't even want to think about that anymore. So anyway,
But the thing is, like, I mean, you see guys come in that seemingly have massively more potential. I mean, they're ranked higher, they've got way better genes, and yet somehow some guys get lost in the wash, and some guys like emerge, and sometimes it's guys that weren't expected to emerge. You mentioned something about like you just like that's Notre Dame, like that's what you wanted. That was like your dream. That was like the one thing you had your mind set on. And do you think that is what, I don't know, why do you think some guys get lost in the wash? And do you think it's just not as important? Do you think that's a factor?
I mean, like, dude, I think at the end of the day, like, you gotta look at, there's an element of luck here that, like, I was really blessed and fortunate that I was, sure, I had 3 surgeries in my last 3 years, and I broke a bone or 2 every year. But like,
That doesn't seem lucky.
Well, no, but I was like really totally incapacitated for 9 months of the 5 years that I was there, and I think for that reason, like, I was lucky. You look at somebody like Tony Springman or Jarrett Grace, or you can go down the list of anybody's college teammates, and like there are a lot of really promising athletes that don't ever get their shot. So I do want to say that, like, I do feel blessed for that reason. And then I think then the other side of this too, like, just to say, like, I was lucky, but then also, like, rankings are such BS, man. You know this. I mean, like, I don't even think I was a no-star guy. I think you might have been a no-star guy, which is comical. I don't remember how many stars you had, but you were like a whatever recruit, right? Yeah. And so, like, I think the people that are doing the scouting for these services in general are pretty bad. There are some good people out there. I'm not going to like condemn all of them, but so I think that's probably something that I would call out. And then these kids come in and they've been kind of like been treated as God's gift, and you don't want to work for it. And you know what? Like, a 22-year-old Drew Tranquil is going to he's going to crush you if you're an 18-year-old kid who's a 5-star. It doesn't matter, how good you or how talented you are. Like, you get way better as you get older and train. So anyway, I think there's an element of luck. Then there's just like, people miss on recruiting, and the scouting is kind of a joke. And then, you got to work, right? So I don't know how you feel about it, but that's probably my level view.
I mean, I would throw just to throw the rankings out, because I think the rankings are less relevant to me, and more so like guys who you go out there first spring practice or maybe first game and you're like, holy smokes, this kid can play. Like, he can play, but somehow gets like, lost in the wash, and you're like, dude, you're faster, you're stronger, you're quicker. Like, I see you work out every day, yet somehow over the course of 3 or 4 years, they don't, amount. And so I'm like, I think there's a mental component, like a mind, like it's about part of it's about I think a missing piece might be about the mind. I don't know. I feel like you had an elite mind.
But like, you think about all the kids that came in 5-star, and there are some people that just are so damn gifted, it doesn't really matter. The guys that are really special end up having it both. Like, you look at Jalen, who really tried on both sides, and he was like unbelievably talented. But there's some people that just kind of get away with it because they're freaks. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know, you're probably right, on that. So I don't know. College recruiting is, I do not envy the position of a recruiter in college football. That's not an easy job.
Yeah. I guess that, like, you mentioned to me one time, like, I think you picked me up from somewhere and you were like, Drew, I'm barely staying afloat in my classes. I think you were like, I'm barely holding on to my 3.0. I'm trying to stay right there.
Yeah.
It seemed like, I don't know, like kids today, like, especially in the circumstances now, I feel like kids focus so much on this GPA, right? This GPA, this idea that like they get these grades in this class, and that somewhat like defines their intelligence and their ability to get jobs post college. But your experience at ND, like, you weren't top of your class, but yet you still landed a solid job with Excel. Where do you think kids are going wrong, in their college education, or how they're taking advantage of it, or maybe they're not?
Well, I think it's hard because success, it gets so defined by like these people from the top. And I think in general, you have to like if you have to play the game to a certain degree. Like for me, I was optimizing for, building the type of man I wanted to be, and becoming I wanted to be optimized for, for football to a certain degree. Right. And so I knew sure, was I capable of going out and getting like close to a 4.0 if I tried my, did everything, I possibly could? Yeah, sure. But like, I was totally fine. Like, I left Notre Dame with a 3.35, totally fine with that, 100%. But like, I think that like the person that I was building myself into and the other things that I brought to the table because of football and everything else, like, kind of works itself out. I think that like, again, going back to the question though of, where does, the system kind of get it wrong? I think it kind of pigeonholes kids into like, you've got to be this cookie cutter, you got to have a 3.75 to kind of even interview for this job. You've got to go to this school to interview for this job. You've got to have this internship to even have the, the chance to go and be a productive person on this team, which is just like absolute BS. And so, but it's really tough for me to look at somebody and say, don't do that, because unless you've got some other story where it's like, like I was, playing football or playing a sport or, in student government or starting a company, it's really hard to like honestly get through the resume, disaster that it is trying to get a job. So anyway, I think like if I were to talk to like, somebody else who maybe doesn't have a, I don't know, like, football story or some other story, it's just like, you got to find some way to jump off the resume and, maybe focus a little bit less on the incremental benefit between, 3.5, 3.7 and 3.9, and focus a little bit more on trying to build yourself into the person that you really want to become and you think is going to be marketable, whether that's, leadership position in student government or starting your own like side business, something you can talk about that makes you look a little bit different than everyone else. I'd say that that's something that I would definitely recommend to people or to, somebody's kid or something like that. It's what I talk about with people all the time.
'Cause education's like super important to me. I think that's why I want to talk about it a little bit, as it is to you. But it just seems like where is it going right now? Because I mean, when you look at it, I mean, the idea that you're going to go spend $100,000 to $250,000, a lot of it which will probably be debt unless your family can afford it or unless you can get some sick scholarship like we did. And, yours didn't even kick in until halfway. I was fortunate. I got a scholarship my whole way, so I don't have any debt. But a lot of kids are coming out of school with a ton of debt. And we act like employment's just a guaranteed thing. It's certainly not. Like, as more and more people, as the pool gets larger of people with bachelor degrees, the next thing is going to be you have to have a master's degree. And we're already seeing that in multiple fields. And so I don't know. And COVID's obviously intensifying everything with employment opportunities. I just don't know, I don't know. You just strike me as a guy who like made your opportunities, maybe not all the way through the class. Like, I feel like you are great at networking. I just didn't know if you had any like insights into ways maybe you saw it differently than the cookie cutter way you described.
Yeah, no, I think it's just that, like, life is so much more than like memorizing, material for some like just bullshit test. Like, I think that like you got to learn the fundamental concepts and you got to be a good student because like, you have to have some sort of background. Like, had I not like paid attention in school, there was like, and like known what like an income statement was and like how a business worked, and like been able to like fiddle my way through an Excel, financial model. I would have totally flunked out of Excel. I would have never gotten that job. But like, I also think that, because it was like the other things that I tried to focus on, whether it's like learning how to have like a great conversation with a CEO or a founder or, just like having different life experiences that made me, I think a slightly better candidate for that. I just like, I don't know. I totally recommend to people like, just because people tell you that you should like go do X, Y, Z, like, figure out what the right path is for you. Like you only get one life. And it's really short-sighted to be thinking that like, whether or not you get an A in this class is going to define the person that you are. It's so much bigger than that. Same as rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we take I think we're just sensitive in general, but when you add something that's like, this is a defining factor, you're an A student, you're a B student, or hey, you're a 3-star, you're a 4-star, like, I don't know, labels like that never seem to work out. But you land the job with Excel. What can you tell us about? It's a pretty prominent VC firm. What did you learn there?
Yeah, so Excel, if anybody's listened to this,
not Excel spreadsheets, not
Excel, like not Clippy, the little Microsoft Clip. Excel is, it's one of the premier venture capital firms in the world. So manages over, I think $10 billion in capital. First investor in Facebook, Spotify, Dropbox. Like, name your important company, and we're probably an investor in it. It was an amazing experience. I got really lucky to have the job there. Had some fantastic mentors, and just had a ball. I think for me it was a blast because I'm a really intensely curious person. I love to learn, love to meet people and talk to people, and I love trying to help people. And at the end of the day,
must be a Buser fellow.
Yeah, it must be a Buser fellow. It must be a Paul Buser guy. But yeah, for me, it was that was an amazing experience for me to just really dive into sectors and, meet people and just try to, go out and help them. And there's so many things you can do from that kind of, position of privilege, where you can work with an entrepreneur, talk to them about, how their business is going, try to add value, even if you're not investing. So I had a blast with that. That's how I found Ethos, where I'm at now. I was doing a bunch of work, kind of mapping out the insurance technology space. Kind of fell in love with it. Thought it was an amazing, place to go and innovate, considering there's all these super established companies that the business model hasn't changed in 150 years, and there's no technology whatsoever. And that's how, I found this current opportunity. So I helped lead the investment in the company that I work at today. Got excited and wanted to go try to build something for my own instead of just sit on the sidelines. So,
I want to talk about Ethos in a little bit, but I want to get back to Excel. Why? I feel like there are a lot of players, or at least wannabe players in the VC world, that want to strike it big. Why were you guys able to hit again and again and again? It just seems like you guys just nailed every Spotify, Facebook, you name it. You're saying
there are a lot of really smart people that work at Excel. So I think they got a lot of the right people on the wagon there. You also got to think about, this brand, the Excel brand. It's like saying Notre Dame, right? There's so many people that have come before that have laid down, the foundation for that firm and have poured their life's work into that firm. And so I think that's one of the things that makes,
so you Excel get the cream of the crop just because you're Excel. The cream of the crop opportunities will cross your desk.
Well, I mean, people definitely want to meet with Excel because there's, the resources that come with it, the network that comes with it, the value-added services that come with being an Excel portfolio company. There's a bunch of different things that a firm like Excel can help with. And frankly, it's really hard. There's a huge barrier to entry for someone else to try to go and build an Excel, because you've got 30 years, 35 years of, institutional knowledge, network building, brand building. So it's really the same. It's honestly it felt like being at Notre Dame, where you're just at it's a brand name firm with all the resources and benefits that come with it, right? Yeah, it's like Purdue trying to win True Tranquil when Notre Dame's also around the corner. It's
oh man, throwing shade on Purdue, man. They're great.
Oh man, sorry, I had to.
I get it, man. I get it. So you come across this Ethos idea. It comes across your desk. What happened?
Yeah, so we had been looking at the space for a long time.
When you say space, you're talking about insurance?
Insurance, yeah. So basically, we have this thing, or I keep saying we, but Excel has this thing called the prepared mind. So it's off the Louis Pasteur "Chance Favors the Prepared Mind" quote. So we would basically, what we would do is we'd do a huge research, effort, endeavor into a category or a sector. Get to know everything about it, how everything works, and then go out and really just try to, talk to everybody and understand, how might we make an investment across this vertical? And so that's really what I did. I went through, hey, there's property and casualty insurance. There's all the different personal and commercial lines within that. Then there's life and health insurance, all the different angles on that. How does this all work? How does it all fit together? And it was actually like right after the process of doing all of that work, which was like, I think a year of my life I spent like trying to really understand this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Key from Ethos. We had a connection. One of the other guys I worked with at Excel, went to business school with them, was, close friends with the founder, and, just got to know them. And they were really onto something where, life insurance is this super complicated product to a lot of people. And there's this massive coverage gap because it's such a pain in the butt to go get, and it's complicated. So, the approach that they took from the beginning was like, life insurance should be simple. It should be easy to get. You shouldn't need to get stuck with a needle. It shouldn't take 10 weeks. And so that's where we've kind of been living for the last, 4 years as a company, is like, let's make it super fast, 10 minutes, apply online, you get an instant decision, don't have to take a medical exam, and boom, you're covered. Right. And there's some really horrifying stats on, the coverage gap is what it's called in the US, where 50 million US households say they should have life insurance, or they should have more of life insurance, but they don't. There's like $17 trillion in coverage that should be enforced that's not. And then it's like something crazy, like 1 in 5.
You said 17 trillion with a T?
With trillion with a T, dude. It's insane. Like, there's so many people that should have life insurance, and people think they have life insurance because they have it through their employer. But the thing about that is, it's probably $25,000 or $50,000. It's some super small number that may cover, like, honestly, your coffin. And then you think about it, dude. Like, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but like, let's assume that, like, something horrible were to happen to you, later today, and like, you've got a family, you've got, a baby, you got a wife, and a style of life that they should be able to live, right? You're as the breadwinner, whether you're a man or a woman. And so $50,000 is going to do nothing, for you and Jackie. It's like, it's not anything for you. And that's the problem, is people don't understand that, that this isn't enough coverage for them. And so anyway, that's something that really gives me energy when I wake up, is like, there are people that, because we made it so easy that while they're in the line for Starbucks, they can get life insurance, they're not going to go their family isn't going to go bankrupt if something were to happen to them. So we're selling life insurance, but really selling peace of mind, and just the ability to really get something quickly and affordably. Right. So that's why this company is, has been exciting to me, and I think it's doing well.
Does the coverage gap, does that help the insurance companies in terms of their profits? Like, do they benefit from that? Or because I assume if everybody was insured, they'd be getting more in premiums, but they'd also be taking on more risk. I mean, like,
right? At the end of the day, dude, like, you price risk for individual products, you price risk individually, right? So, like, you come through the door, and we were joking earlier about, like, BMI and stuff, but like, we look at each customer, and there's a price for every, for most risks, for the most part. And so, if you underwrite these things profitably across a large book, there's no reason that it shouldn't be, a profitable business for people. So I think it's an opportunity for insurance companies. You got to do it right. It's not like just walk out and insure everybody. But yeah, it's an amazing opportunity if you're a life insurance company, because, like, it's not like going in and saying, like, all right, I'm going to start an auto insurance company, and everybody already has mandatory auto insurance, and so you've got to do something really different about that. And there are people doing that, but, like, this is something where there's just, like, so many people that have not been served, right? And that's a really cool thing. Yeah. It's also a horrifying thing, because I think about people that don't have coverage, and, like, it's scary.
I think a lot of people watching probably are in a position where they could benefit from just knowledge on specifically what life insurance is. It's pretty self-explanatory, but some people, I've heard it described as an investment vehicle. Like, in your opinion, what point should people be looking into, like, hey, I need coverage, I need to go get this thing done?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to get into like, telling people what to do. I think they should, obviously do the research for themselves. And, if they have an advisor or something, they should talk to their advisor and think about how it fits into their plan, because it really is something that, like, you just have to understand what your needs are. Um, I think for most people, like, and I'm not giving like investment advice or insurance advice. I don't know what I'm going to say to be compliant here, but,
You don't
term
have to,
life, term life insurance is a very like affordable and like safe way to protect you and your family, right? And so, like, when I think about it for myself, like, I have term life insurance. It's like, it's cheap. I can invest everything else on my own in stock market, Vanguard, whatever. I got index funds that are just kind of market, and I know that, like, should something happen to me, like, my loved ones are going to be taken care of. So, but when you get into more complicated financial products, that's something that you should definitely talk to an advisor about. But for us, it's like we're selling like very easy to understand term life insurance, 10, 15, 20, 30-year terms. It's like, all right, like, it's very, very easy to comprehend.
yeah. Jackie and I are in the process of getting life insurance right now. And, we've been trying to get ourselves up to speed. I mean, there's universal, there's like life insurance where you can just, constantly be paying into it. And then there's these term policies. You're saying Ethos only does the term?
Only does term. Yeah. It's like, we're remarkably simple to understand. And like, that's by design. It's like, this should not be complicated for most people. Like, let's get you coverage fast, easy, affordably. So that's like the type of coverage that we sell. As you mentioned, there are a whole bunch of different things you can do. But we make it simple for a reason, right? It's like, you just want coverage, Ethos is a great option.
How do you guys mitigate the risks, though, of somebody filling out an application and, I don't want to say not 100% being truthful, but, maybe not, you guys not getting all the information you need to accurately assess the price point for that individual?
Well, that's the cool thing about Ethos and like being a 21st century technology company is like, we can pull a bunch of information, right, in real time with direct connections into different data systems and our own systems. So we have like, an underwriting engine that can algorithmically price risk, right? So it's very interesting, like, what you can do and what you can find out about someone based on, access to different, databases and just how we underwrite. So that's like a little bit of the secret sauce of like why Ethos is because we're able to do that. And, learn so much about someone in an instant rather than over the course of 10 weeks and calling people and medical exams and everything else.
But what about like you said, like the not getting, I don't know, getting a needle or getting blood work done?
Yeah,
how do you?
Like most of our applications do not have a medical exam, and that's just like the way that we underwrite, right? So like, again, just trying to make it easy, trying to make it simple. You shouldn't have to have that if you don't need it, right? So we're working on that's something we're working on as a company, is trying to make it a simpler process to get insurance.
And so you hopped off, like, you were just like, this seems awesome. And you joined the team when? A couple years back?
I joined the team last year sometime, so over a year ago, but sometime early last year. Yeah, man. I mean, I just, I got excited. Me, like, I like the art of building something. Being on a team. Like, I loved, I love my time playing, and there's something about being in the foxhole with the team and the guys and the girls at Ethos. It's like, it's super fun. And building something, there's no replacement for that. Like, it's really like, it's an overused cliche, but it's like coach versus player with investor versus operator. So I think I just kind of like, I've always wanted to do that and be on the team and lead a team. And that's what I love doing. So that was what got me excited, was like the opportunity to go and do that. And, I'm lucky that they kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of go do that and, run part of the organization and have a good time.
I studied engineering. I love to build things.
Do you know how to? You're a football player. Can you add? Like, what's your deal?
Hey, chill. No, real talk though, are premiums like and stuff being affected by COVID?
I mean, so I don't know if COVID is as big of an issue, but like, So insurance, there's a couple things you should look at. It's like underwriting. Like you're talking about underwriting profit with COVID because it's like some natural, kind of unforeseen disaster. I think most people, like most insurance companies, you price like elements of that into the risk. So I'm sure people are taking losses, but like this stuff goes into like how you price a product.
Gotcha.
The bigger issue, honestly, for a lot of insurance companies and reinsurance companies is very low interest rates. And so if you think about the fact that like the Fed just dropped, they're printing money like crazy people and interest rates are, zero. The way that an insurance company actually makes money is on basically their investments. And so they're investing in a bunch of safe assets. And so when yield goes down on those safe assets, like, government bonds, so does their profit margin. And so the thing that you might see from insurance companies is like when yield goes way down, their underwriting profits have to be more significant. And so they may, start to raise prices on, they might start to raise prices on products or just, only look to service better types of risk. So I think it'll be really interesting, because we've kind of already been in this period of really low interest rates for 10 years or 12 years or whatever. But like what ends up happening over the next, year or so with this environment will be interesting to me at least. So I think that's probably a bigger issue than COVID.
Is Etho the only company at the moment doing this simple, quick to market, quick to get you covered service?
Yeah.
Is anybody else doing that?
And people are coming this direction, I think. So the legacy incumbents are trying to do this. There's a handful of startups that are trying to do this too. We're the biggest of all the startups that are trying to do it. But I think that like people understand that there is this whole huge number of people that haven't been served properly. So it's like, okay, how can we, build them a product that they want to buy? Because they haven't been buying the products today, or at least we haven't been selling it to them effectively. So, yeah, I think that like more and more people are coming this way, and it's just more efficient too, right? There's no paper. It's very different. Like traditional life insurance, man, is nuts. It's like you're skin.
Well, we're going through right now.
Yeah, it's over the dinner table. There's paper. It's like you got medical exams. It's crazy.
What are the big fish in the pond think about this approach, though? What do they say? I mean, I'm sure you guys have asked.
Yeah, you're a startup, right? So I think you got to kind of keep your head down and not even think about what they're saying, frankly. So it's just like keep just trying to go out and serve people better and better each and every day, and create a great experience and a great product, and good things will happen. So, but I think like it is like. There is a movement to being more digital and customer centric across all of financial services, but insurance is probably 5 years behind where banking was, pre all the neobanks and digital revolution, where now your Chase account looks like it does, and all that fun stuff.
Do you think this movement of life insurance and the new way of going is still kind of a proof of concept, or is it past that? It's like your guys are like, it's working and it's growing and
it's definitely working, right? And this is like, these are real products, right? They're reputable products backed by real insurance companies. So I wouldn't say it's a proof of concept. I think like whether or not Ethos can build, the next Northwestern Mutual, like that is definitely like, that is a long-term dream, right? Of like, how do you serve people? Because like Northwestern Mutual is an amazing company. Like, I mean, it's like billions and billions and billions of dollars premium every year, and thousands of employees. But I think there's no reason that we shouldn't shoot for building a great company like that. And there's a whole bunch of things that need to be done between now and then. But that's the goal, right?
Yeah. No, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's an important conversation to have, especially with everything, the environment going on right now. I appreciate you just for your time and being a teammate of mine. And I knew you'd have some interesting perspective on those things, but specifically, having skin in the game in regards to life insurance, and what that can be just within your investment portfolio and within, leaving a nest egg for your family and everything that could occur. It's good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, man. super fun. Love that you're doing this. Obviously, let me know if I can help with anything. I love you. So thanks, man.
Cool. Love you, bro. Thanks for your time.
Boom.